Nitro celebrating 5 years on the air with Russo's Revenge, aka War Games 2000. That should help me review it. I'm Joe Methlin with a retro review of WCW Nitro from September 4, 2000. 3 weeks after this, Vince Russo becomes WCW champion. I'm okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to blow your ears out. I hope you guys aren't wearing headphones. This episode was shit. This was worse than last week's Nitro, which is saying something. And I've seen this episode. I've seen this War Games a few times. It gets worse every single fucking time you watch it. So, Jeremy Borash joins commentary because Scott Hudson is still with his wife, who is expecting a child. And once again, boy or girl, I hope the child grew up healthy. Scott Hudson and his wife certainly deserve it. So, the Insane Clown Posse go after the WCW Tag Team Championships against the Filthy Animals. Yes, Violent J and Shaggy 2 Dope get a chance at the prestigious WCW Tag Team Championships. Well, the once prestigious, because they don't mean jack shit now, because belts didn't mean anything thanks to Vince fucking Russo. Conan joins commentary, also Disco, because I didn't want to hate this show any earlier than I do now, because why wait? Why wait till segment 2? Just make me despise this show right now. Conan, he was what he was and still is what he is, but Disco never belonged in WCW or any wrestling promotion for that matter. Match was okay. Leg drop pins Violent J, I think. I think Violent J got pinned. Whichever one is the bigger one. Well, the slightly bigger one. I will say once again that I appreciate what ICP has done with their fame for charity and, raising money for various people, and that's great. They still make shit music and whatever, but hey, they did good stuff with their fame. Can't fault them for that. Major Guns is training to be a Canadian citizen and running on the treadmill because bouncy boobs. That's literally all this was. Then War Games cage is down. The cage is down. So we have Russo's crew talking about the Cowboys. Well, Russo talks about the Cowboys because they're in Dallas and the Cowboys apparently lost. My football knowledge is a little bit limited. Even though I used to watch it, I don't remember what the fuck happened. Cowboys must have lost really badly. Aikman was still their QB, and he was pretty much wiped out by this point. So 2 teams of 4. It's Russo, Jarrett, Steiner, and Nash versus Miller, Booker, Goldberg, and Sting. And Russo said that he had his lawyers look over Miller's, stroke in the company. And nope, they're visiting that and revising that and everything. So Miller has no power tonight, apparently, somehow. And every single man on the heel side, as Russo said, but actually the babyface side, must qualify in various qualifying matches. Whoever the person is that beats them, if anybody beats them, takes their place in War Games 2000. Are you fucking following me so far? Yes, Ernest Miller has a chance to become WCW champion. This show was fucking dead already. Qualifying matches, yeah, okay, whatever. Okay, we get Nash, not happy about that, and gets upset at Russo. It's all a ruse, all a Russo, if you will. Then the lights out. Here's Sting. He comes through the ring, and then they put an X with tape on it, so nobody jumps in that corner, because they couldn't be bothered to fix it during the commercial break or during any of the pre-tapes they showed. Seriously, just put some stuff there, and it would have actually been fine. I don't know much about ring construction, but you would think that the ring crew could have done something to make that spot a little safer. So, by the way, yeah, Nash is upset, and then everybody suddenly runs out and gets in the cage. Everybody. Miller, Booker, everybody, fans in the arena get in the cage. That would have been amusing. No, it's not actually what happened. Sting chases Russo up there, and then Russo jumps down because Russo's a cowardly, ballless bitch. Those aren't his kids, by the way. They were created by somebody that actually, is capable of producing children. I really hope those children abandon Russo and he dies alone afraid. I really do hope that, because Vince Russo certainly deserves that. Wrestling personality or not, he's a fucking idiot, a fucking jackass, a fucking piece of shit, and he fucking deserves every bad bit of shit that has happened to him. So, moving on from that. The Nazi Harris brothers show footage of a bar fight, and then the bar fight, with Chronic and everything, because that's not going to factor in anything later. Douglas wants Goldberg. Tori yells at the Natural Born Thrillers, no, Douglas can do this on his own, and Douglas looks at Tori like, what the fuck? Why would you say that? And then Sting versus Vampiro and Great Muta. The match went maybe 2 minutes. I don't even know if it went that long. Missed to Vampiro's face on accident. Scorpion death drop to Vampiro, 1, 2, 3. And then the Dark Carnival's all having issues. I think this is one of Muta's last appearances in WCW. I think maybe at Fall Brawl, and then after that, he was back to Japan. Being taken a lot more seriously there. Because he would be in New Japan for a couple more years, and I think go to All Japan for a number of years. To be fair, though, I mean, he was great Muda. He could say what he wanted and do what he wanted because he was just that goddamn good. Anyway, possible dissension, who the fuck knows? So we get more Major Guns workout. She's doing the bar, the bendy bar things. The flexor. Because boobs. Because more boobs. Nash is upset still. And then we get Booker and Stevie Ray in a qualifying match. Stevie Ray decides to kind of brawl with Booker. Show him never turn your back on somebody, even if they're your brother. And eventually a bookend for 3. They hug. Okay. So Booker advances. Actually, one of the better matches, and it was only about 3.5 minutes. You don't need to have a long match. You just need to make a match pretty decent. But it was a quick TV match. And then Chronic lays out the Young Dragons because they're looking for the Harris brothers. And then you had the Harris brothers being extremely racist, even though a couple of them are Japanese. One of them wasn't because it was Jamie Noble in a mask. And there you go with that. One gets laid out through the table. I think it was Jamie's son, Jamie Noble. And then Chronic attacks 3 count. Jarrett says Chronic will get the Harris brothers on their own time. But says, hey, face Ernest Miller in a qualifying match, a handicap match. Eventually, despite the fact that, Jarrett kept chasing his assistant around, well, Miller's assistant, Miss Jones, the one who was in the neck brace, the one who was like nondescript, I don't even know why the fuck she was there. She got chased around, Miller got distracted, high time, and now Chronic is in the War Games match, not Miller. And Russo's like, yay, Miller's out of there. And then Scott Steiner says, you idiot. Now these 2 guys are in there. And then Russo's all upset. Because Russo never fucking understood how wrestling worked. Douglas versus Goldberg. Take this back. I take back what I said. Actually, this was one of the better matches on the show. Booker and Stevie Ray wasn't that bad. Shane Douglas really couldn't have a good match at this point. Goldberg was never capable of having a good match without somebody to lead him. But he was what he was, and what he was impactful. Mauling at first, and then he does a stupid thing where he hurls his forearm at the ring post, and yeah, that was hilarious. That was fucking hilarious. And then, but it's the same injured arm where he's like, I'm going to put my arm through the limo window. Good idea, Goldberg. I like how people say that, oh, it damaged the company and it damaged the standing of WCW when they were already ticking down anyway. And injury or not, nothing was going to save WCW at that point, even in December of 99. So, the Thrillers run in, and all the Natural Born Thrillers run in and get their asses kicked again like they did on Thunder. He fights them off, spear jackhammer, there you go. Russo's upset. And Nash has his own agenda. Make sure Russo doesn't walk out with the championship and that Nash retains. Now Major Guns is getting wet in a pool, and maybe otherwise. I don't judge. Pamela, the blonde interviewer, gets shoved in the pool by Lance Storm. And MIA is watching this and jumps in the pool to brawl in the pool. Look, I recognize the comedy is needed sometimes in wrestling, but this just was not funny. It was just so fucking... MIA, I fucking hate him anyway. Skipper, probably not a good idea to have anybody in a pool anyway, especially in wrestling. You never know what will happen. A brawl in a pool. Why was this allowed to be on WCW programming? Why was WCW allowed to be on TNT at this point? They really should have just pulled the goddamn plug on the thing. Turner should have. So, we think it... Oh, god damn, I forgot about this. I just watched the show. Arn is sitting there with a very wet Pamela. No, that's not a euphemism because she's still wet from the pool. Was this pool at the arena? Was this pool just like backstage somewhere? Was it like in a little lot right outside? Why is she still wet? What is going on here? But Arn says, Pamela, you are soaking wet, honey, and that is outstanding. That is a great look for you. Arn Anderson was the precursor to Horny JR. My God, Arn. Pamela was hot. Do not get me wrong. Probably still is. Don't get me wrong. She was hot, but Christ, Arn. Good Lord. Arn was at least twice her age at that point. Good grief. You are soaking wet, and that is outstanding. That is a great look for you. Double A wanted to give her... Anyway, moving on. And he talks about David's wedding. He's going to pick up Rick, and they're going to be there. It's going to be in Charlotte. Wrestling weddings always end well. This fucking show. This fucking goddamn motherfucking show. Sanders and Vito kill time with... Do you really care? Does anybody care at this point? They like Vito. But he's facing the Natural Born Thrillers in a gauntlet match, but then they all run down there and they just fight him anyway. It's a mauling. Sanders gets the easy pin eventually. Even though Vito tried fighting him off. And then Sanders has Vito's stick right in front of him. And that boy, Vito is flexible. And he gets laid out and everything. Ah! War Games 2000, Russo's Revenge. Ow! Actually, that didn't hurt nearly as much as this match. Vince Russo should be brought up on criminal charges for his crimes against wrestling. I am not saying that others have not booked bad shit before and aren't currently booking bad shit, and that there isn't a lot of bad shit in wrestling. Vince Russo should have never been allowed in professional wrestling, or even on this earth, for God's sakes. A time machine should have been invented to prevent Vince Russo from being born. That much I'll say. Though I think we could use a time machine for better things. Hopefully not that 2002 Guy Pearce movie. Moving on. This was a shit match. A shit match that I don't think anybody really would have expected to be good. And it was a goddamn train wreck. Also, fun fact, the arena they used this in, it's a 3-tier cage match. You have a cage, and then you have a ladder that you must climb up to get to a panel to get into the second cage. And then there's a third cage in there above where you get the title. Now, the problem is with the second cage, when you had the camera that was up high that was trying to shoot, the lighting was so bad in the arena that it was almost dark. It was almost like they put, a friggin' dark... It's almost like they put, just something over the camera. Like they would just put this over the camera, and it would just be all dark. It'd be as dark as my t-shirts back there. Also, look at that fucking face back there. The Scream face. Drew Barrymore. Scream, the film that revived her career. Good on her for staying clean, by the way. Proof that you can do it if you want to fucking do it. So, great death, by the way. I need to review the Scream movies at some point. Moving on. This was not good. This was my expression throughout the entire match. Because there were like a couple matches taking place in one. Would Nash beat up Russo? Goldberg could get his hands on Russo because of the, waiving the no contact clause. So Jarrett and Sting start out. Yeah, at this point, anybody could get up, get the title, and get out before all the members got out there. And since it's War Games, you have timed intervals when people can come out. Scott Steiner comes out in a weird, facial covering. No, that's not a euphemism because his eyes got damaged, when, Goldberg swung a lead pipe at him. And then Chronic comes out. And then, they battle and everything. They're up. And then they're up on the second cage. And then Russo comes out with the Harris Brothers. Harris Brothers, who are not in the match, by the way. But the Harris Brothers start brawling with Chronic on the second cage. This is important because... not even 3 minutes later, Chronic and Harris Brothers are off the cage, in the crowd brawling. I guess they're out of the match. In the meantime, we had we had a Scorpion Deathlock on Russo. He's a spineless wonder, so it wouldn't have affected him. I mean, it only affects the back and spine. And also, Russo complained about getting concussions. I don't know how somebody brainless could get a concussion. You need a brain inside your skull to get one, Vinny Roo. And by the way, Vince Russo deserves to be made fun of religiously, ironically. So, Nash is out there, and he goes at Russo, but then Jarrett and Steiner stop him, and then Nash gets splashed by Sting from behind. And then Chronic and Harris Brothers are in the crowd. Here's Booker. Booker's here. Here's Goldberg. He eventually attacks Russo after being cuffed because it is cuffing season in September. And I know that means something else. And then all messy shit, and Sting got cuffed in the second cage. The Booker's getting laid out by Steiner and Jarrett with a guitar in the title shot, or in the title to the head. Miller runs in. He grabs the title. I'm going to win. No, Miller, you fucking idiot. Then he got jackknifed and almost got dropped on his head because the roof wasn't very high. We almost had a Sid Brian Pillman Wrestle War 91 situation. That was a really scary spot. And I wouldn't have wanted that to happen to Miller, but it almost did, and it would have been a lot worse because Nash would have not been able to catch him. It was really bad. And then Goldberg, after breaking the cuffs, goes out and everything, gets the title. And Shivani says nobody can stop Bill Goldberg, and then Goldberg instantly drops the title, except Goldberg himself, apparently. And then he has the title, he's almost about to get out the door. The man who has the title, and he gets out the door, gets it, and then, mind you, on Thunder, Goldberg had been digging a grave for Russo, or was it Thunder? No, it was Nitro. It was one of those fucking shows. I reviewed some of these shows all in one day, and they all blend together after a while. So then Brett had attacked Goldberg and left him out in the desert somewhere. And apparently not taking his car keys because he somehow managed to get back to the arena or get to the next town. And then Goldberg's about to leave, and then Brett suddenly shoves the cage door into his head. Tale as old as time. They've been doing that since well before even Michael Hayes did to Kerry Von Erich. No, it was Terry Gordy that did that. Moving on. Freebirds and Von Erichs actually had a great feud. Messy shit. Nash grabs the title. Well, Russo grabbed the title, and then Nash grabbed it, and then, oh, it was all a ruse, and then this, and then this. That's what I want to fucking say. This is what I want to do to everything that Vince Russo ever wrote, but to be fair, that's what he does for bastardizing the goddamn wrestling business. Fuck Vince Russo. I really hope that he gets, just ridiculed completely until he, leaves social media for good. He's a fucking goddamn idiot. He's a fucking goddamn worthless, ballless, nutless bitch. His poor wife, his poor kids, anybody that's Vince Russo's friend, what the fuck? Anyway, War Games 2000, Russo's Revenge, is the 5-year, anniversary of Nitro, so to speak. Well, 5 years being on the air, and this is evident that they would not even make it another 7 months because WCW was dead. Agree, disagree with what I said? Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. God fucking damn. I'm John Ritlin. See you soon.